There could be no clearer sign of Putin testing. NATO's resolved Russian fighter jets in Estonian airspace for 12 minutes, a significant violation over the Gulf of Finland, and just days after Russia violated Polish and Romanian airspace by flying drones over them. Russia denies the violation, saying it was a scheduled flight over neutral waters. Europe called it reckless. Estonia says, Putin's made a huge mistake. I have never seen such a unity in Europe and also amongst the NATO allies than the now. We are investing heavily more to defense and also political. We are able to respond when we regain our independence. In 1991, we decided two principal things. The first is we fight back if there's a need for that, and the second thing is we will never be alone again. This is the style as Putin is pushing us, trying to divide our societies, but we need to face it. And I think we are more united, stronger than ever before. And NATO has been keen to show a strong response. French planes among those bolstering defense after Russian drones were flown into Polish airspace earlier this month. Polish aircraft were scrambled again early this morning after Russia launched airstrikes targeting Ukraine near the Polish border. But Putin also knows that the Estonian violation is a test of the US commitment to NATO. Reuters reporting that Pentagon officials told diplomats last month that the US planned to cut off some of the security assistance to the Baltic states bordering Russia. Trump's response to the violation so far, relatively muted. No, sir. Russian jets, entered Estonia's airspace a day for 12 minutes. Do you see that as a threat to NATO? Well, I'm gonna have to look at it. They're going to be briefing me in a short while, so I'll let you know about it tonight or tomorrow. What's your take in general? Just being well. I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it when that happens. It could be big trouble, but I'll let you know later. They're gonna brief me in about an hour. This is the second time in a month that a NATO member has had to invoke Article 4 of the Washington Treaty, which formally starts consultations with its members to secure collective defense. It's significant, happening only a handful of times. Since NATO's founding in 1949, it is clear that Russia is testing how far they can go, and we had very intensive discussions about the international situation and also regarding Russia's actions, really. And of course our plea also to the countries that have more close relationship with Russia is to really call them on stopping this. Prince William was in Estonia back in March to support UK troops. It's currently the British Army's biggest operational deployment overseas, with around 900 personnel securing NATO's eastern flank, deterrence on the ground, and Estonia. A strong supporter of Ukraine and Ukraine itself. A Russian airstrike hit a residential building in Dnipro overnight. Officials say 3 people were killed after major drone and missile attacks targeting 9 regions. Ukraine claims that Russia has lost more than 1 million troops since the beginning of its full-scale invasion in 2022. But that hasn't stopped Putin, who has proved he is now prepared to test NATO's limits too. With me now is Elizabeth Bra. She is a cyber and national security expert. Thanks very much for coming in. We'll talk about that potential cyber attack at airports in a moment. But to the Estonian situation, first, you know it was drones in Polish airspace. It's fighter jets in Estonian airspace now. Putin's provocations are escalating, or they seem to be, don't they? They are certainly escalating. Now, I should remember, this is not the first time there have been Russian fighter jets in the base, but this time it was 3 of them, and they were there for 12 minutes and coming, as you said, very few days, just a few days after the drones in Poland and the drones in Romania. So, and it is clear that Russia is testing NATO, trying to provoke NATO. And when it comes to fighter jets, you can't deny that they are there. They were there even though Russia says, they do deny it. Exactly. But, they were seen in Estonia, in airspace, and they were definitely Russian fighter jets. I mean, as you say, it seems clear Russia is testing. It is provoking, some would say goading, NATO. The NATO response, once again, is to trigger Article 4, consultations between NATO countries. Is the danger here that NATO starts to look weak, and what is the point at which consultations become military action? So the important thing to remember is that Estonia, lateral Lithuania. They suspected all along that things like this could happen. So when they joined NATO, they essentially convinced NATO member states, and NATO member states were kind enough to accept the proposal that they should be NATO policing in the Baltic states, that when something like this happens, those NATO fighter jets scramble. In this case, it was Italian fighter jets and escort the intruders out. But that's not supposed to happen very often. And if it begins to happen very often, and you start asking, well, yeah, can we keep this up? And so NATO, I think, is looking weak on this occasion. But what is the case is that it looks like Russia is trying. It is provoking NATO on different fronts. What will happen next time when it's something that NATO doesn't have a protocol for? I mean, the U.S. president's response was, I don't love it. Could be big trouble. He'll let you know. Always difficult to interpret what Donald Trump means. Initially, what's your best assessment of what the U.S. could and should do if this keeps happening? The challenge is we don't know whether it's going to be a military activity next, if it's another air incursion. NATO is set up for that. It's annoying, but NATO is set up for it. Baltic air policing exists, but what if it's something that's not drones, that's not fighter jet incursions? What if it's something completely different? And we should remember, we have seen a string of vicious, suspicious incidents involving under the infrastructure in the Baltic Sea in recent years. So it could be something different next time. What it is, we don't know. And but what is clear is that Russia's on a roll. They are trying to provoke nature. They are figuring out new ways each time. And I mean, just very briefly, a couple of things very quickly. What is this? A distraction technique to distract NATO and European countries away from Ukraine? I think it's a way of wearing NATO down. We should remember this costs a lot of money. Running Baltic capitalism costs a lot of money. Protecting NATO, wherever it is in the air, on the ground, at sea, costs a lot of money. And the more you have to do it, the more expensive it gets. And really quickly, I'm sorry, we're running out of time. This potential cyber attack on the airports. You know, the company affected was awarded a contract from NATO Communications just a few days ago. Conspiracy theory there. Well, let's find out from the authorities what happened. But the bottom line is we will keep experiencing attacks like this. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.